Welcome to another episode of my fabulous go-to expert playlist, where I get to talk to those people that have helped me, made a difference, people that have really been in my business. Why do I do this? Because it's a really lonely path, whether you are a solopreneur, whether you are just starting out in a fledgling, or whether you've been around the block. Quite often we are searching for solutions and answers for problems that we know that we have, while finding solutions and problems or solutions for problems we didn't know we had. And I am struggling to get my words out today, but I'm gonna keep going, Alice. If anyone hasn't met me, my name is Lindsey Burden, and I'm an intuitive business coach. And I basically help my clients get really clear on where they want to be. And I help them bridge the gap between where they are and that fabulous place of success in their own incredible way. But today I am going to be talking to Alice Fewings. Welcome, Alice.
Thank you so much.
Alice and I are giggling. Alice and I have known each other for a very long time. I have had to start this video again because my introduction wasn't great. I'm not sure that one was good, but I want to get into
It was
talking.
great.
It'll be fine. I'm going to use the introduction. I always ask my guests to provide me with an introduction. So this is yours. Alice Fewings is an award-winning LinkedIn trainer and coach. She empowers entrepreneurs with the mindset and skills to transform their social media content, as well as improving engagement. Alice helps business owners to confidently create a clear and consistent LinkedIn strategy, which in turn helps them to reach new audiences, raise their profile, and more importantly, attract more clients. But Alice, when you first met me, I didn't even like LinkedIn.
You did not.
It wasn't the space for me. They weren't ready for me. They weren't ready for my craziness. And a power hour with you completely changed how I thought and felt about the platform. And I think we're about 2 years down the line. It's my primary platform.
I
Thanks.
know. I still remember when you first came to me, you were my case study for I hate LinkedIn. I don't really want to do it, but I think I should do. What do you think? And I was like, I reckon I can get you to love LinkedIn.
You did.
And you do.
But I think that's one of the challenges with LinkedIn compared to some of the other social media platforms. I think sometimes people feel more able to show up authentically. They feel that they can be a little bit more fun on Insta or Facebook, and they don't feel, I certainly didn't feel that I could bring my true self to LinkedIn. And that's not true, is it, Alice?
No, it's really hard. And I think this is where most people, when they're beginning their journey with LinkedIn, or if they've been away from the platform for a while and are coming back to it, they feel like they need to be perfect to show up on LinkedIn because it's the business platform. So if we're just talking to our friends, we probably don't mind how we write the message or what photo we put up. It's a little bit less polished. Whereas if we're going to LinkedIn, I think people think that they need to have that polished look, not to trip up, not to say anything that would be of detriment to their career or to the company they work for.
Yeah.
But we're all humans and it's a business community. And I kind of always liken LinkedIn, it's just a really big networking room. So if
Yeah.
you talk about yourself in a networking space, so if you ask someone over a cup of coffee, what did you do at the weekend? Did you have a nice holiday? All of that stuff is relevant because we're all just people trying to build relationships with other people, as well as obviously talking about our skills, our careers, and the business that we work for. So, yeah.
I think for me as well, it has become an extension or integral to the networking that I do. I mean, we met networking and we're both advocates of networking. But for me, it's that extension. It's that it has an extension, integral, whatever words we want to use, but they come together for me really, really beautifully. And I think that's because of exactly what you just said. We have conversations in networking rooms. And then we can have those conversations in link or on LinkedIn as well, can't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, if you think about it, if we go networking, usually networking meetings are once a month, maybe once a fortnight. Rarely are they. I mean, some are every week. But I think if you think once a month, if you went to every single session, networking meeting, that's 12 in a year.
Yeah.
And if we think about having to build a relationship with somebody before they trust us, and this isn't necessarily selling to the people in the room, but they have to know, like, and trust you, that famous phrase in
Yeah.
business, in order to refer you on to their network, or just to even be thinking about you when someone else says, you know, in my case, oh, I'm thinking I need a LinkedIn trainer. I want people to remember me. And that doesn't come off of one session once a month that I've been to sporadically. It comes because I met someone, maybe networking or on LinkedIn and vice versa. And then I followed up with them, probably on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And we've then kept that two-way communication channel going with content. And so we've been in each other's lives because
Yeah.
we've met face to face and then we've connected digitally on LinkedIn. I think that
So
works.
hand in hand, we like that. Now, one of the things we were going to talk about today is the four-part framework for LinkedIn success. But can we just define a moment? What's LinkedIn success? What does that
Mm.
mean?
And it will be different for everyone. I
Mm.
think it's really interesting because sometimes people's opinion of success is financial, lead generation, how big your business is. And I think everyone's version of success is slightly different. And different people need LinkedIn to be different things to them at different times. So I was just sending an email out to a client this morning that I'm about to go and deliver some team training. And I said, what's your goal for using LinkedIn? Is it corporate sponsorship? Is it just reaching the business community? Is it raising awareness of your charity? Like, what is the thing that you want most out of LinkedIn? Because it's very easy to assume, oh, I just want more sales. But what does that even mean in itself? So, yeah, LinkedIn success is what you need LinkedIn to be for you. And that will be different things to different people at different
People.
times.
So what is this four-part framework that you talk about?
So I came up with this because I don't love the word strategy.
No.
I mean, this is kind of a four-part strategy, but I loved the idea of there being a simple jigsaw puzzle that's linked in pieces and there's an order you lay them down in. And so I created this four-part framework for LinkedIn. And I think also there's so many different parts to LinkedIn. There's so many different features, algorithm changes. There's so much to it, and it can feel quite complex
Yeah.
and almost like, where do I start with it? So I came up with four key areas that if you just remember these four, you're onto a real winner with LinkedIn. So it starts with your profile. So there's an order we're going to lay these four pieces down, and that it starts with your profile. So your profile is the beginning, the end of everything you do on LinkedIn. It can work for you while you sleep, while, you know, behind the scenes, if it's set up well. So it has two purposes, your profile. The first is to make a great impression to your ideal client when they get to your profile. They need to see all the right messaging, know that they're in the right place, ideally see themselves in the copy that you've written. So they're like, yes, I'm the person that you want to work with. And a clear call to action so they know how to take the next step to work with you if that's what they want. The other thing that we need to do is make sure the algorithm on LinkedIn knows what you're a specialist in. If the algorithm doesn't know, it will never put you in search results. And if we remember one thing about LinkedIn's intentions is that it wants us to be on the platform for as long as possible to expose us to more ads or that we become a paying customer. That's how LinkedIn make money, right? So therefore, if you think about if there's someone out there that's searching for someone like you and they type in the search bar at the top of LinkedIn on the dashboard, if they're met with search results that are rubbish and are nothing like what they're really looking for, they will leave LinkedIn. So it's in LinkedIn's interest to put people in the search results that are the right people. They want to marry up and pair the right people
Yeah.
together. So if you have created a really good profile with lots of keywords in there, repetition in marketing is everything. So even if it feels like, oh, I've already said that, I've said that again, it's a good thing. So we're looking for all those keywords that LinkedIn can scan your profile and go, ah, you're a LinkedIn trainer. Oh, this person's searching for someone like you right now. Let's put you into those search
Yeah.
results. And that's how I have definitely won clients on LinkedIn just through my profile and being found in a search result. So that's the two purposes to our profile. And we have to be thinking about that when we're setting the profile up.
Yeah.
So that's your first part, because if you do anything else on LinkedIn and people get to your profile and it's not saying the right things, you've lost them. So profile is number one. Next, surprisingly, maybe to some people, is growing your network with the right people. So it's all about your network. People jump to stage 3, which is content, but actually we need to make sure that we are putting the right people in front of us on LinkedIn. So again, think about the networking environment. If you had a room of 10 people, but they were all your ideal clients, you'll probably have a much better conversation and potentially leads come out of that room than being in a room of 100 people that none of them are your ideal client.
Yeah.
So it's not a numbers game on LinkedIn. And a lot of people think of LinkedIn as a social media platform, which technically it is. But I don't like to think of it as a social media platform. I like, because the trouble is the other platforms do teach us that the more followers we have, the more potential reach we have, the more opportunities. But LinkedIn is about who's in your networking room.
Yeah.
And so it's important that we're growing it with the right people so that that audience is in front of us. Then, when they're in front of us, we can start creating content, which becomes the two-way communication channel where we can talk about our business and they can get to know us a bit better, and vice versa. But if we jump too quickly into content, there's an algorithm thing that is the people that you've most recently connected with are the people most likely to see your posts. So if you're connecting with random people because they added to your numbers on LinkedIn, they're the ones going to get priority of seeing your posts. Your posts won't be relevant to them. They won't engage. You see no engagement and think, what was the point in taking an hour to write that post? And then you think, oh, I just won't do it again. And it becomes like a vicious cycle. But if we can get the right people in front of us when we do create posts, it makes sense. And then hopefully lots of conversations come out of it. And then the fourth part of the framework is then all the other bits that help us to build and nurture relationships, professional relationships with people on LinkedIn. So are you commenting on posts? Are you sparking up direct messages with people? It's everything else on LinkedIn without it being specifically features. But yeah, so we've got profile, network, content, nurture your community.
I want to ask you, so when we talked about when you were talking about profile, then you said when you're setting it up. But there is nothing to stop you right now going to your profile and going, I need to review it. I need to refresh it. Someone can do that, can't they? They don't have to go, well, I set it up like that and sit back and just go, I've got to
Yeah.
live with it. You don't have to live with it, do you?
Oh, absolutely. So do edit it. There's always lots of new features coming out with your profile anyway. So even someone like me that's looking at their profile quite often, there are always things that I'm updating to it. Once you've got the foundations done right, it's just tweaks and little edits. It's not major overhauls all the time. But yeah, look at, if you just step into the eyes of your ideal client and look at your profile through fresh eyes, particularly the top part that they see when they first get to your profile, what impression does it make? And if it just has a blank banner image, or it doesn't in the image say what you do or have your logo, if in the headline under your name it just says your job title and where you work, there's lots of tweaks that you can do to make a better first impression.
Yeah, because I am now at least, well, once a year, I do a full review of LinkedIn, but I'm always, quarterly, I like to just go and have a little look. And like you say, once the foundations are there, it's more the tweaking of it. And also, and particularly, I would say for a solopreneur or someone who has a small business, over years, you'll naturally evolve. But even, shorter periods of time, you will evolve, you'll change, you'll bring new messaging in. So we need to go back and make sure that that is aligned, don't we?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just like websites. How often do we forget to review our website? And it's the same thing. LinkedIn, your profile's like a shop front.
Yeah.
So if your services have changed, or like you said, that messaging's just slightly tweaked,
Yeah.
don't ignore your profile and go back and look at that copy.
Okay. So that was the profile question. Now I've got a question about this network.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard lots of ways back and forth, so I'm interested, Alice. So we may have a network. If I went back to some of my very first connections, I might find that actually they were related to a job that I had. Now I could look at them and go, I'm not sure that they might not be an ideal client anymore. They might have become an ideal client, but they might not be an ideal client. They might be somebody who is employed and therefore not a decision maker, perhaps. Where do you stand on reviewing our connections and unconnecting?
I am an advocate, I have to say, for culling people out of your network. But I would always give it a caveat that if they bring value to you, so that could be that they're not your ideal client, but you really like the content they produce and you learn something from it, or that they're connected to your ideal clients. So
Yeah.
just because they might not be a solopreneur themselves, maybe they're in some sort of business that works with other solopreneurs, and so they're a referrer for you.
Yeah.
But if you think, and this is, I think, where it's worth reviewing your network, is if you've had the strategy over the years of the more the merrier, come on in, when you've been sent invitations, that's when I think you need to go back through and think, who was this person in Australia that I've just connected with? Maybe they're not relevant anymore. Yeah, and just have a little look that way. And the other one often is people have connected a lot with recruitment agencies because they were looking for a job and then they've secured that job and now their network's built with recruitment agencies when actually that's not their ideal client now. So it's always worth reviewing and seeing who's in there and do they still add value to you or your network.
Another quick question on network that's just come to me, Alice. On occasion, someone has asked to connect with me, and I may have looked at their profile. I may have some mutual connections because I don't just accept anybody, and I've got much braver at going no.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know you. Who are you? I don't know you. But on occasion, I have accepted these people into my network, and then they've sold at me immediately. And they've done the one thing I wouldn't have expected of them. I mean, there are some that I will expect, but a lot of them I'm just like, one, I'm really disappointed and feel like I need to tell them, you've really disappointed me, but I don't. But how does that affect sort of algorithm and everything else when you've let somebody into your network and then you go, actually, no, I don't want you in my network? Does it have any impact or is it just good management of your network?
It's good management. It doesn't really impact you. So I'll go through these in a minute. I have 5 questions I ask myself before I connect with somebody or accept their invitation. But if, like you said, someone gets through those questions and then they sell to me, I unconnect with them straight away because that's not how you network. We all know that's not how you build relationships. And so you know that they have just seen you as a number and someone to sell to. So I remove that connection. That is no bad thing on you, is bad on them. And the other thing to remember is that if you're sending out lots of connection requests and people are clicking the no on you, that's bad for your LinkedIn presence. So if LinkedIn think essentially you're not trying to build relationships and you're not networking and that you're just spamming people, they will kind of bury you a bit in the algorithm. So there's a lot behind the scenes to be aware of. They are looking at your behaviors in your activity. So if you are actively building a good network, you want to talk to people, you don't want to be sold to, then it's all good things for you. Yes. Yeah.
Let's do content. Let's explore content because I think one of the reasons that people get stuck on any network, or platform, let's be honest, is they go, "What do I post? What do I post? What do I post?" And I think one of the things that really has struck me, and while we've had a power hour, I've done some of your incredible training, your challenges. One of the key messages that really comes across, if you can twice a week, post twice a week and do it consistently. Um, and I think that really people really struggle and think, well, I have to be posting. I mean, I do post every day, Monday to Friday, but it's my main platform. It's where I hang out every day. I want to be on that platform every day. I bet some like, oh, I just can't do it. And I always say to them, well, what can you do? And that's not my wording. I think that's from you, Alice, isn't it? It's about consistency.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's my wording. It's all about the consistency. So LinkedIn would much prefer you to be there once a week than, if that's all you can do, than three times really close together once a month or once every 2 months. They'd rather you have some sort of consistency there than people just coming in every now and then, doing a lot, and then leaving again. So yes, I would say LinkedIn doesn't like it if you don't post for about 3 weeks. Then it kind of puts you in LinkedIn jail. So I would try and be pretty regular, ideally every week. And again, just liken it to that like metaphor I said earlier about if you're going to a networking meeting and you were doing it once a month, 12 times in a year, do you think you could build a relationship in 12 1-hour sessions that translates into something fruitful? It's the same on LinkedIn. If you're posting once a week, that's 4 posts in a month on a saturated news feed of content. Do you think that stands out enough to build that know, like, and trust factor with your audience?
Yeah.
It's better than nothing for sure. But if you want to be more memorable, there is, a little bit more content is ideal. And I would say also, just to make people hopefully make them feel a bit better, the ideal number of posts is around 3 to 4. So it's not about posting all day every day, because the algorithm, if anyone's noticed recently, you'll see posts that are a bit older in your newsfeed, and it's because posts are taking a while to reach the people that they need to reach, and so content's lasting longer, which means we need to allow content to breathe a little bit. If we post too quickly after the last one, it kind of kills that one and then gives the attention to the next one. So you don't have to, it's not like X, Twitter, where we have to be there all day every day posting something, but I would say more than once a month, once a week ideally.
Yeah. And I think there has been a real shift in the algorithm. And I don't want us to get stuck in the algorithm because I work on the basis that if I keep doing my thing and keep having fun with it and keep showing up, the algorithm sort of comes back in my favor at some point. But I have noticed a massive drop recently.
Yeah.
So I think there must be something going on in the background. For anyone that's watching this at any time of the year, we're in May 2025. So don't go into a panic if you're watching in 2026.
But yeah, you're right. Consistency and enjoying it. And that's where we left when we had that first power hour. You started with, I don't really want to do this, but I think I have to do. And you then went into a place of, I actually quite like LinkedIn. This is quite fun. And if you're still in that place where you don't mind creating content, it's not a chore, like it is a good thing to show up and talk to people. That's the space you want to be in. As soon as content becomes a chore, we'll always find things on our to-do list to make us not have to write content. So yeah, you've got
And
to
the
enjoy
last
shit.
piece of your puzzle really is all the other things that we can do, which is around the engagement, which is around the commenting, the communicating, the connection. And I remember all that time ago, I was like, well, I'll just do the things that I'm confident in doing and feel able to do. But actually, what I'd noticed, and even in the last 6 months, and I think our power hour was more than 2 years ago now, but I've only noticed in the last 6 months how I've got more confident in commenting on other people's posts and starting conversations with people I have never met apart from on LinkedIn in the messaging DMs. And I think we have to allow ourselves to build gradually. And there are lots of tools and ways that you can do that. But I think that for me, it was definitely around confidence.
Yeah, it is. But I would say, so commenting is one of the best things you can do on LinkedIn, commenting on other people's posts. And if anyone's watching, listening to this and thinking, I get what you're saying about content, but that's still just too much for me and the confidence barrier, just start with commenting on people's content, because you get not quite just as much visibility, but you are introducing yourself to someone else's network when you comment on their posts. And I always call it, rather than calling it a comment, I call it a digital handshake, because when you comment, you leave behind your name, your profile picture, the first part of your headline, which hopefully says what you do, and hopefully a thoughtful, meaningful comment. And if anyone else looking at that post in this other person's network sees that comment and it's interesting, they might just click on your name and go through to your profile and then follow you or have a chat with you, whatever that means. But yeah,
Yeah.
you absolutely still get exposure, not least building the relationship with the person you're commenting on.
Yeah.
I love getting comments, and every time anyone else comments, your name sticks in my head as like one of my champions, someone that is commenting, and we all know that commenting is good for that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, just commenting is really great for building your brand visibility.
And it, like I say, it's something that you can do quite easily. And the more you do it, the more confident you will become. I think there is also this piece around if that 10-15 minutes a day, just doing that. And I know at the beginning, so if this makes anyone else feel any better, I know at the beginning I felt like I was just scrolling through a feed, desperately looking for
Yeah.
something to comment on. But the more work I've done to develop my network, to nurture and curate a fabulous feed, it takes seconds to find stuff. And then if I can't find stuff necessarily because of that moment in time that I'm looking, I go and find somebody, that I do know. And I go, oh, I'll just go and see what they're up to because I can comment on theirs. So I think that becomes easier. And it's definitely become easier for me because I've curated that feed, because I'm
Yeah.
commenting on stuff that I want to see in my feed.
Exactly. It's such a good tip because if you think the algorithm, it's not one algorithm for everybody what it is, but it's it's showing us content it thinks is relevant to us.
Yeah.
So if you are commenting on a post, it thinks that you are either interested in the content or the person that created that content. So you are more likely to see that person again. And it's why you might see, I call them like our business buddies, our friends in business. You might see them at the top of your newsfeed all the time. And it's because you're regular engagers on each other's posts. But they're probably not your ideal clients, or maybe they're already your client. And we need to scroll down a little bit to find some other people. But there are also insights we give the algorithm without realizing it. So if you hold a post on your screen and read it and click the see more button to read the post, but you don't engage on it, LinkedIn still think you found that interesting in some way, shape, or form. And so one of the things I got into a muddle with a few years ago was I was always looking at, it wasn't even really a competitor, but somebody I guess in that kind of category, and was always reading their content. So guess what I saw every time I logged into LinkedIn was competitor content. And that's not serving me very well. And as soon as I just was like, nope, scroll past straight away, I've never seen them again since. So the algorithm is constantly looking at what it can serve you to keep you on the platform for longer. So it wants you to have posts that are interesting to you, but you can be in control of what you're seeing on your newsfeed.
Yeah. Um, it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because it's like my mum on Facebook. She's 82. I can just keep seeing all this stuff. Well, stop reading it
Yeah,
or hide
literally that.
it. Tell
Yeah,
Facebook you don't like
yeah,
it. And I
yeah,
think it's very easy for us to get into that space with any social media platform that is just negative. It's just filled with stuff I don't want to see. It's terrible news. It's the doom scrolling. But you've created that. And I think
yeah,
when we take responsibility for our feeds, it makes a massive difference. When I look at
yeah.
Instagram and LinkedIn, really, both of mine are really positive spaces to be in because that's what I'm
Yeah.
interested
And
in.
it's that's the content you enjoy consuming, so it shows
Yeah,
you more of it. And
yeah.
it's really tricky because there's so many negatives what can happen with algorithms. We've all seen like news stories around it. But it is about if you're more consciously aware of what you are looking at on the newsfeed, you will get more of the right stuff. So if you are looking at your newsfeed at the moment thinking it doesn't serve me, it's not full of the right people, A, it could be the wrong people in your network to start with, but B, look at what content you are telling LinkedIn that you enjoy consuming. So,
Alice, a quick question. I know that there is a piece of software that you can use to help you find people on LinkedIn that will send comments and or place comments for you and will even, send those first couple of messages. And I am a great fan of AI. I think it has an incredible role to play, particularly for solopreneurs, and it can save you a huge amount of time when used really, really well. But this feels to me that it loses the human, because don't get me wrong, I've gone, that would be great because I could get, and I even thought I could get that to do that piece and I could still be showing up. And I was thinking, but
yeah.
why are you still showing up? You're showing up because you want to be there and because that is the human part of you. So where do you sit with these pieces of software that help you connect and save you time?
I have a love-hate relationship with AI in general, and these other tools. It's not necessarily my opinion. It's what LinkedIn likes and doesn't like. It doesn't like third-party apps trying to connect with it. So it knows what its own system is capable of. It knows what its own AI is. So for anyone that didn't know, in 2024, LinkedIn like stripped the back end of their platform and replaced it with AI. So they have AI built into LinkedIn now. So if you use AI or other tools built on AI to use on LinkedIn, it knows and it doesn't like it. And I was just talking to a client this morning who has started using one of these tools and has now been blocked on LinkedIn. So there are consequences sometimes to these tools. Uh, However, LinkedIn's own tools are okay. So, like Sales Navigator, if anyone's ever used that, it does essentially what a lot of these other tools will do, which is you can tell it who your ideal client is. It can go out there, look at those people, give you a list of people. You can then ask it to send messages, or you can do that manually yourself. For as a solopreneur myself, if you have a small pocket of time regularly, I would just do it manually on LinkedIn for free, organically. There is a search engine for free built into LinkedIn in that search bar at the top. You can just type in the job title of your ideal client. You can refine it with some more filters like locations, industry, etc., and it will give you a list of ideal clients. And again, let's liken it back to a networking room. We would not send a robot in to represent our business on our behalf. So why would we do it on LinkedIn?
I've never
And
thought
like we,
about it like that.
it literally is that. Like that person, you just ignore it, wouldn't you, if it came and just sit in the corner of a room? So yeah, we would show up as ourselves to talk about our business when we're in front of humans, but it's just humans again on LinkedIn. So why would we not be there authentically ourselves? And that's where you build relationships that have meaning. Yeah, so I think try and keep it personal, authentic. And we all know those messages, connection request messages or direct messages that have not been written by a human. Mine is a classic because my business name is Alice Fewings, LinkedIn trainer and coach. So when I get to one of these messages that's been created by a tool, they are set up to say like, dear first name, I see you've been working at, and then take the job title from your profile. So I get them all the time. Hi, Alice. I can see you've been working at Alice Fewings, LinkedIn trainer and coach for 10 years. And then you're just like, no human would ever refer to it like that. They just say, I can see you've had your own business for 10 years. Or how is it being a LinkedIn trainer? Yeah. So people can see through it all the time, and that never gets accepted, those ones. And of course, we know that not getting accepted is a bad thing. So yeah,
I,
keep it authentic.
I'm glad I mentioned AI because I think it neatly brings us back to LinkedIn is a place to be human, to connect with humans, to have conversations with humans, where you'll be able to build that know, like, and trust as you do and want to do in a networking event. But you can do it a little bit quicker because you're collapsing the time because you're showing up more regularly and because it's not a monthly meeting. So it feels to me as it just brings it back to just be you on the platform and show up as you and don't try and be somebody else or more professional, more polished. Just show up.
Yeah, it literally is that. I again going back to the networking room. Think of all the process that you go through to go to a physical, whether it's online or face to face. We put time in our diary to do it and to be there, and we show up. We then listen more than we talk ourselves, probably. When we do talk, we might do a pitch about our business, but we also probably talk to somebody either in a breakout room if we're online or over a cup of coffee, just about anything, whether it's business related, whether it's someone asking for a top tip or a piece of advice, or whether it's about what you did at the weekend. Then afterwards, we note down who was there, we follow up with them. We might have a one-to-one or a Zoom coffee or something like that with people. Literally take every part of that process that you do for another networking event and replicate it for LinkedIn. So if you're given an hour once a month to or once a week to a networking meeting, split up that hour and do 5 minutes a day on LinkedIn, and it will be just as, if not more, rewarding because it's consistent.
Well, Alice, I can absolutely tell anybody who is watching, listening, that Alice literally, I know I said it at the beginning, but you literally changed how I felt about the platform. And I have so much fun on the platform now. I have met some incredible business owners who either I have used, have worked with, they've become clients. It is just a platform that I feel is just full of incredible people when we take the time, when we have a framework to follow, and that curating that we've talked about, that creating that lovely feed, making it easy for you to show up. It just is, for me, it is the best place. And I spend more time, even when I'm sat not doing anything, where before I might have scrolled on another platform, I am still on LinkedIn because people still post in the evenings. People still post early morning or at weekends and stuff. It's a platform that I think can be really valuable to somebody's business, and it doesn't have to take up a lot of time. And for all the reasons you talked about, it's that way of building that know, like, and trust. And it is a beautiful complement to networking.
Absolutely.
What a
Couldn't agree more.
We've come all the way full circle. Now, Alice, because I know everyone's going to want to get in touch with you, because why wouldn't they? Where should they find you?
I wonder, where would they find me? Let's go to LinkedIn, shall we? So yeah, come and search Alice Viewings, and you'll find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best place. Otherwise, go to my website, aliceviewings.com.
And I will make sure that both those links are below this video. And I absolutely recommend that everyone get in touch with Alice. She just has incredible content, very uplifting content. We always talk about your smile, Alice. You have the most incredible smile, and it's really lovely to see it in the feed. And you share some personal stuff, so we really get to know you. But also over time, I don't know if you've got any coming up, but you have done some fabulous workshops, challenges, etc. Get on them when it comes up. Get on them,
Yeah.
because even I think I've done a couple that were the same, and I still learn
Mhm.
something. There's still something
It's
else
because
I take
LinkedIn's
away.
always changing, so I
Yes,
can't just, do the
not
same thing
rinse and
again. I got
repeat.
six principles, but yeah, it has to change a little bit to fit with the algorithms and everything else. So yeah.
Alice, thank you so much. I was just thinking back. I know exactly why I fluffed up the first introduction that I did. And actually, I didn't do the second one when I was opening it up. I didn't do that very well. And I know it's because I was so desperate to just get and talk to you, because one, I haven't done this for a long time. No virtual coffees for us for such a long time. And we only really see each other on LinkedIn now. But thank you so much for joining me. You've shared so many fabulous tips, and I know that people will find real value in this recording, but also in finding you on LinkedIn. So thank you, Alice, for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome.